I close my eyes. I don't remember the rest of the words. Okay, so the letter O is a movie I've been ridiculed for not watching for the longest time. Old School. The major reason why I haven't watched this is Will Ferrell, because I'm not a big fan of his. I like his SNL stuff. When he started doing movies, he decided he had to get bigger and better, or just louder. And to be honest, he was probably the worst part of this film for me. Hate on it. There are some films I like of his. Elf, I think is okay. Step Bros, I think is pretty good. I like his appearance in The Goods Live Hard, Sell Hard because he dies in that movie. And I like him in the Lego movie because he's the voice of the villain and everything, but I'm not a big fan of his movies. Anchorman made me want to throw myself out the window. Alright? Stranger Than Fiction I thought was okay. Again, though, his character is supposed to be murdered, but that has nothing to do with it. I'm just saying that he was probably the worst part of this film for me. You know, he is sort of the hero at the end. So the story here is that the Godfather, what's his name? Mitch finds out his girlfriend is kinky and was going to have a gangbang with a bunch of people. So he leaves her, moves into a house which is adjacent to a college campus, where he hangs out with his friend Bernard, played by Vince Vaughn, and his recently married friend Frank, played by Will Ferrell. Find out that they can't live in the house unless it's a fraternity house, because it's adjacent. It's owned by the college that's close to it, and so in order to live there, they have to be a fraternity has to be in that house. So they come up with their own fraternity. I don't remember if they even mentioned the name of it, where they have all kinds of age groups. Them, older people like Blue, college-age students like a very young Howard Wolowitz, and that African-American fat guy that was in a lot of those movies that they're like the Me, Myself, and Irene and this, and the new guy, I think he was in that one too. Is his name on here? I don't know. What this movie has going for it is directed by Todd Phillips, who did the Hangover movies. And that horrible... But he also did that horrible Joker movie that's not really a Joker movie. He wanted to be Scorsese and turned what should have been a simple comic book origin film into a Taxi Driver ripoff, which I'm the only one in the world that thinks if it's a terrible... Okay. It's a wonderful case study for someone with mental illness. Horrible Joker origin movie. I'm just saying. People say, oh, you hated that movie too much. No, I hate on it just right, because he was supposed to do a origin movie for the Joker, and we got a case study for someone with mental illness who just happens to dress up like a clown and wants to be called Joker. He's not the Joker. He's not even the guy who inspires Joker. I don't believe that anymore. He's not. He's a mental case named Arthur Fleck, who's nuts. Anyway, back to this movie. So, I enjoyed this movie for the most part, but there was some elements of it that I was just like, I don't know, because they do this wedding thing where they go to Frank's wedding, which all things considered is a unnecessary point in the film, getting what happens, but he gets there and he meets Nicole, played by Ellen Pompeo, who you wouldn't think would be in this kind of movie, but there she is. And you think, okay, this is going to be the girl he ends up with, and she's going to be the main love interest. But she's like there, doesn't show up again until halfway through, has a few scenes, and disappears for the rest of the movie till the end. And it's like, what, did they lose the comedy format here? Because you think they would have, I don't know. It seems like they forgot about her at the end, and more importantly, forgot about Like, I don't know. But yeah, so they have to be a fraternity. I guess we have a young Howard Wolowitz here. We also have a young Rob Corddry who still has some hair. Artie Lang is in this, which is really cool. Uh, he doesn't get enough scenes in this, I don't think. Todd Phillips also did Road Trip. Okay. But, yeah, and so, alright. So there's a running joke that Mitch slept with his boss's daughter that never really comes back around again. People just know it happened, but it doesn't come back around to the boss or anything. There's no "you're fired" come around to that. There's nothing. Like, she's played by Alicia Cuthbert, and she says when they wake up this morning, "I gotta go to class." Okay, college or adjacent to college. But then later, she shows up in the boss's office. I'm like, "Oh, singer, boss's daughter, cool." And then they make it worse by saying she's graduating high school. So it means she could be 18. But I always hate that it has to be a joke. Like, "Oh, hey, I'm younger than you think I am." Because they did it in Friends. She don't know what you think I am. And he's like, "Well, I'm a senior, high school senior." And it's like, I don't know. It's just icky to think of that. But who knows? But yeah, let's talk about Will Ferrell in this. The only thing I knew about this movie going in is that Will Ferrell streaks. It's not on a college campus, like I said in my hint. He's just running down the street. And this apparently starts problems with his wife. And he's, like, because it's Will Ferrell, he doesn't express it right. He has to express it like he's a dumbass. And he has to sound stupid saying it. And pull out certain stupid things. Like, he's basically trying to tell his therapist that he's unsure if he's ready for marriage. And he's trying to adjust himself. But the story he tells is about looking at a woman at a restaurant, wondering if her underwear, or what color her underwear is, and if it's a thong or cotton under panties. That's not funny. I'm sitting there going, "Man, this please, he just keeps going on." And then when she interrupts him, the therapist like, no, let him talk. No, don't let him talk. Let's end it. It's not funny. And it gets to the point in the film, he does his screaming thing because he thinks it's funny, and it's not. It's annoying. He just starts yelling. And it's not funny. But I like Vince Vaughn and Luke Wilson in this. I think they're pretty good. Vince Vaughn is funnier. Just take a look at this. They look like they've been photoshopped. These two, at least. You know? But, yeah, so, we have a villain in this film, even though I don't think it's really necessary, but, Gordon, played by Jeremy Piven. And I guess this is a good choice for a villain. He's good at playing an antagonist character. Although I will point out, Jeremy Piven and Perry Reeves are both in this film. And they played a married couple on Entourage. Although Perry Reeves is playing Frank's wife, Will Ferrell's character's wife. But, yeah. Yeah, so he's the evil, twisted dean who doesn't want them to have their fraternity for no real reason other than he doesn't like them because they made fun of him when they were kids. Let it go. I understand if you're like, if this was, take Van Wilder freshman year, right? Why did he want them, accept it. Sorry, excuse me. Accept it. Why did they want them out of the frat house? Or out of that area? Because he wanted to tear down that building and build his big freaking gateway thing, right? There is no reason given why he does this. He's just doing it because he doesn't like them. That's not a good enough reason to have a villain in your film. I'm sorry, it's not. It's not. And at every corner, he tries to stop them, and it really started to piss me off. The more and more it went on, because it's just fucking stupid. Like, he says, okay, so they have to, like, they're a fraternity, but then, he bribes the person in charge, tells her, hey, I can get you into this law school if you do this for me. And if you say no to them or whatever, you got. So she does that, but they still go forward because Mitch is a lawyer. So they go forward with it, and he goes and looks it up, and they can, compete to become a fraternity if they do this, like, triathlon type thing. This academic triathlon thing, do different things. And they succeed in every single one of their things and get like an 84%. That's passing. However, Gordon uses a loophole. See, earlier in the film, there was a character named Blue. And during a questionable KY Jelly wrestling match, he died. Well, because his name was still on the charter, on the list of members, Gordon decided, I'm going to count him. And because he wasn't there to compete in anything, he got all zeros. And that brought him down to a 58. Now, here's my problem. We are shown in these different areas that not everybody competes in there. In fact, he handpicks the 3 members to compete in the gymnastics competition one. So, then we see various other ones are just like our main characters doing stuff. We never see a lot of the minor characters doing stuff. So, why does it matter if Blue didn't do anything? We never see that everyone does every little thing. You could say, there was a montage, but we get to gymnastics and we see the competitions, the 3 that he specifically picked. Not everyone in the fraternity was in the gymnastics part. So how can he even say that? And yes, it's one of those cases where it doesn't matter how well they did. They could have got 100% out there, and he still would have found a way to discredit them. They should have had someone else on the committee. Someone else that he can't bribe. Someone else that not connected to him. No. The one Will Ferrell scene I did think was funny was the debate one, which, again, doesn't have everybody on there. But the debate one, where they bring in this guy who's supposed to be like a professional debater, and they ask this question. He goes to answer it, and Frank's like, you know what, I'll take this one. And he spurs out this, very smart dialogue. And then he goes, I blacked out for a minute. What happened? You did it. I'm like, okay, that's funny. But nothing else in it was funny. But, yeah. And then we find out that he actually didn't honor his bribe. So she recorded this conversation she had with him where she confronts him about it. He goes, well, you know what? I changed my mind. And so he plays it. And he grabs him. Like, oh, come on. Come on, you've lost. And he ends up fighting Frank. And after they fight, he yells out, he accosted me. You saw it. And he runs off with the tape recorder. I'm like, great. This is going to end with them still getting kicked out. And we're going to have some kind of down ending or something. Well, hey, we may have lost, but we're still friends. And we're this. No. Because Frank had the tape. He got the tape. And so he gets discredited. And he gets kicked out. Gordon does, the dean. But then he's still moving out of the house. But the fraternity is moving into there. And with the dean gone, I bet he could have talked to him and said, hey, you could let me live here. It's a house I bought. I was not aware of this before that. And this guy hated me, and he's only said this to get rid of me. But no, he's moving somewhere. And we get a wrap-up scene, because earlier we get a scene where Nicole, his boyfriend, he walks in on him getting a blowjob or something from one of the catering people. And then he flips it around and says it was Mitch later. So she wants nothing to do with Mitch because she thinks he's a terrible person. But then he tells her she doesn't believe him. But then she shows up in the 8th hour here, 11th hour, whatever, and says, "You were right. I caught him." And it's like, why was that off screen? Why was that off screen? That should have been like something we saw, but at least I didn't see it. If it was on screen, maybe I missed it. I don't know. And this is the regular version, the rated R version. Maybe the unrated version has it in there. I don't know. But yeah. Yeah. And the movie ends with, "Here I go again on my own." We get some mid-credit stuff where we see Mark, the boyfriend, driving down in his sports car, and he crashes and lands on Nadine, who's fly fishing. So they're both dead, and then we hear Blue singing "Dust in the Wind" up in heaven, and then we cut to Frank, who never got his marriage back on track. And that's the one thing. I'm like, I didn't care for Will Ferrell's character in this. But why? Because you think, again, the standard comedy movie trope, oh, we're having marital problems, by the end, they get back together and everything's fine. No, they don't. He gets kicked out, he's living with them, and he doesn't get back together with her. And that is one of the biggest things about this film I don't like. There is no reason why they shouldn't be together. They get married at the beginning of this, which by the end of this, they're not married anymore, at least they're separated, and I guess I just don't get why they had to have the wedding at the beginning then. But they get married at the beginning of this, and then he streaks one time, and very badly explains, his marital blues. And then all of a sudden, tackles a guy who he thinks is trying to, his wife is cheating on him with. I think he's sort of in the right there, but even though he's misunderstood everything. But and then she's like, "No, we need to get a divorce." I'm like, really? Like, I know it's Will Ferrell, and I wouldn't want to be married to him either, but he didn't really do anything. There's not enough here for them to necessitate a divorce. It doesn't make any sense. And then this mid-credit scene, he's at a grocery store and he runs into Mitch's girlfriend from the beginning of the film because he knows that she's kinky. When she invites him, he says yes. And yeah. And then there's something with a soccer team and Beanie Bernard. Something. I don't know. But yeah, this was fine. I'm going to say it's a middle of the road movie. It's not something I watch all the time. But I might throw it in once in a while just to have a good laugh. Some of the stuff was funny. But yeah, middle of the road. I didn't think it was anything spectacular, but middle of the road. I'm not trying to say anything, but if you had cast someone other than Will Ferrell, it might have been. Like, how about this? You had Artie Lang in your film and didn't use him right. Why couldn't Artie Lang be the Will Ferrell character? Think about that. I think it would have worked better. Especially the whole thing with the... I know that character is kind of like Vince Vaughn, smoking and whatever, but think about it. He just got married, and he's, been a single guy for how long, so he's insecure. I think Artie Lang would have been perfect for that. Who knows? Or even someone like David Spade or Adam Sandler. Then if Adam Sandler was in his movie. I don't know. Just someone other than Will Ferrell. Hell, Rob Schneider probably would have worked better. To be honest. A schlubby guy? Yeah, Rob Schneider would have worked. Just anyone but Will Ferrell. I'm just saying. But yeah, middle of the road. So next we have P. And a movie where Chris Evans is a superhero. Not that one. No, not that one either. You have to find out. Till then, thank you for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.